Hello, good afternoon, and a very warm welcome to this live employer masterclass session from the Change in Education Group. My name is Amos Madry, your host and careers advisor here at the Change in Education Group. Now, this is a fantastic opportunity for you to learn about the world of work, where you speak to some employers, where they can help you, the students, and give you a real insight into their industry and what you can learn from their field. Joining me today is Leanean Callender, who's the early engagement client partner at Network Rail. Network Rail exists to get people and goods where they need to be and support our country's economic prosperity. As an early engagement client partner for Network Rail, Leanean provides support across the business, helping staff to produce and deliver quality engagement activities and resources for children and young people, even though she actually wanted to be a backing dancer when she left school. She soon realized that careers in this area were hard to come by, so she had to work out how she could use her skills and passions in other ways. That's such an interesting story, Leanean. It can never be easy. When did you come to that realization that the dancing's not going to happen?
Well, I think we realised the Janet Jackson thing wasn't going to happen quite early on, but I think it was probably after I'd done my A levels. I didn't have a great time at school, but I did go to sixth form. I did do A levels, and I'd done performing arts as well. But I'd also done communication studies, and I kind of put a bit of a link into what I was learning in terms of how to communicate with different people in different ways, and how I could bring what I'd learned through dance and performing arts to kind of give confidence, really. So there's no way I'd be able to do something like this and feel, yeah, sure, I'll join an interview, or yeah, sure, I'll get up in front of 150 people if I didn't have that background. So it kind of taught me to look at the skills and look at what I enjoyed and kind of translate them. That's how I explain it to young people. So translating your skills into a different employment sector, what can you take from it and use somewhere else that's totally different? But it really kicked in probably in my early 20s, kind of when I started working with young people, and I could relate to them because I didn't have a clue what I was going to do. What I wanted to do wasn't very possible. There wasn't very many opportunities. So I can relate completely to where young people are coming from that are interested in that industry. And if someone had said I'd work for Network Rail when I was 16, 17, someone had said I'd be working for Network Rail and loving it, I would have laughed. I literally wouldn't have listened, to be honest.
Yeah, it's really interesting again just to see that you were able to take those transferable skills and then you were able to apply them to a different career sector. But again, it gave you the confidence to go out and network, connect with people, which are all really vital skills for anybody to further their career along. And of course, ending up with Network Rail, there's nothing wrong with that at all. Of course, making a change to our country's infrastructure. Of course, tell us about your role at Network Rail and how you got into that position.
Okay, so I'm an early engagement client, or the early engagement client partner, which is a really stupidly over the top long job title for someone that basically helps the business work with children and young people. So all employers, Network Rail has always been pretty hot on the importance of reaching out to young people in their areas to help them understand the business and develop career aspirations. But specifically since over the past 12 months with COVID, more and more employers are realising how important it is to not only kind of say apply for this job, but to really work with young people to build confidence. I've got a background, I've worked in colleges, universities, I've worked for NCS. So my background has always been directly working with young people. And I basically decided to jump the fence because I thought it would be great if I could do what I'm doing, but help an employer and help an employer to get this right. And I applied for this role, the early engagement client partner, not really understanding what it was because our job description was very confusing, but I got the gist of it. And I think because of my background working with young people, I've also kind of qualified in careers education as well. I was just really fortunate to be given that role. But I think the selling point was the creativity aspect that I have, and that was what the business was really into. so I can do anything. My role can be doing stuff like this, so talking about careers. It could be creating resources and presentations and activities for our staff to take into school. On the flip side of that, I'm also responsible for safeguarding, so making sure when Network Rail staff do engage with young people, they can come to me to know how to do that safely and risk assess and all of those kind of things. All the way down to, at the moment, I'm running Network Rail's Kickstarter programme, which is for unemployed young people that are signed up with the Job Centre. So it's really varied. And a role that I don't think many people would have heard of, but I think it's something that more employers are going to be kind of reaching out for.
I think so, definitely, as part of their corporate and social responsibility.
Yeah, that's it.
To give back and invest in the future. You know, it's such a interesting job. I mean, it's not something that you come across, and you wouldn't expect Network Rail to be doing providing such roles. But it's important that I think it's, you know, again, investing in the future, and you know, it's what we're all about here as well. It's vitally important that, you know, we do invest in the next generation. We've got great talent coming through. We've got some incredible young people, and in fact, if anything, I think what they've proved is how resilient they are with the pandemic, you know, lockdown, homeschooling, and all sorts that they've had to deal with, but yet they've still just carried on and just persevered, and I think that's incredible. Are there any particular young people that stand out and you think, wow, you know, that person's incredible, I can see them, you know, going far? Is there anything that stands out in particular?
Absolutely. I was at a job centre last week, and I'd been handed some CVs, and I wasn't expecting much, to be honest, based on the CVs that I'd been given. And when these young people turned up and they started talking, for me, I'm like, why is that not on your CV? Why is that? So I'm there and I'm kind of helping them update their CV. I've said to them, you know, for you to talk and the stuff you're saying. So it's things like what they did when they were younger for hobbies, or how they help out around the house, or projects they've done at school, or things that they're just interested in. Even when their parents are telling them they're being really annoying because they're taking loads of stuff apart. And I'm like, no, that's a skill. That is a definite skill. There's an interest there. So, and I think across the business, obviously I don't get to see every young person we engage with. We've got over 40,000 people that work for Network Rail, and obviously we're England, Scotland and Wales. So, but all of our staff will always come back and say how fantastic work experience students have been, or they've gone out and they've done a STEM, so science, technology, engineering and maths event all day. And the feedback we always get is how fantastic the young people are. I think one of the things I'm actually quite excited to see over the next few years is these young people that I think have very wrongly been called the lost generation as a result of COVID. Actually, I'm quite excited to see them come into the workplace because of the resilience, because of what they've been through this year, and because of how they've had to think on their feet and just deal with things. I think we're going to end up with much stronger workforces in the future because of it. Every cloud.
Yeah, definitely. Now, what would help a young person to stand out when they come for that interview?
Okay, so first of all is your application. So when you're writing a CV or an application form, even if, and I've done this before, I've applied for several different jobs at the same time, you need to tailor your CV. So at the top, you've got that little profile. Make sure that profile is directly aimed to the job you're applying for. And you need to make it sound like that is the job for you. You may have 3 or 4 different things you're interested in, but tailor that CV. And then when you come for an interview, first of all, say if you're nervous. I think lots of young people really stress themselves out about their interview nerves. Just tell us. We've all been there once, and actually it's good for us. It kind of puts us back in those shoes. So we will take a different approach. We'll make you feel relaxed. But just come prepared with why are you interested in the role? It doesn't matter if you've got experience or not. We're not asking young people. If we've decided we're going to interview you, we've obviously seen something that we like about you. So we're not expecting you to come with 10 years experience. What we're looking for is motivation, and we're looking for you to be engaged, so enthusiasm. So do your research, and let us know about the kind of things you've done in the past that you think might link into the role. You don't have to be 100% certain, but that kind of energy is fantastic. And when I say energy, it doesn't mean you have to be like me. I'm bouncing around and talking like a mad woman, because that's what I am. But actually, even if you're someone that's quite quiet and reserved, you can still show enthusiasm by just telling us about yourselves. And talk to yourselves at home. I think it sounds really crazy. Practice those standard interview questions in front of the mirror, because then if you're nervous, you just find the answers just come off the tip of your tongue if you've done the practice.
Yeah, that's incredible advice, really important. And I think, sometimes we take these tips for granted, but it really does make a big difference. Just small things like practicing in front of a mirror, talking positively to yourself as well, and then just knowing the role that you're applying for so that you can at least have a little bit of confidence when you're going in there and they ask you certain questions about the role. They don't expect you to know everything, but at least if you know something you can prove you've done your research, that always goes a long way.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is, and again, this takes confidence. So I do appreciate young people might not feel overly confident doing it right at the beginning of their career journey. But if you read a job description and you get a gist of what it is, but you don't quite have a full understanding, there's absolutely nothing wrong in reaching out to that employer and saying, I'm really interested in the role. Can I just borrow 5 minutes of your time so you can talk me through a little bit more about, say, what a day in the life of this role would look like, and what would it involve? Actually, that's really good, because it shows us as an employer this person is actually taking it seriously, because we obviously haven't given enough information. So if someone comes forward and says, I'm interested in applying, but I just want to know a little bit more, we'll give that information out, and then we sit there just hands together, just saying, please let them apply now, because they've really shown themselves in a positive light.
Yeah, definitely. Do you find that your job's taking you all over the place, or how are you working remotely?
It really was. Before COVID, it was brilliant. So I've been at Network Rail for 2 years now. I am predominantly, I was based in Milton Keynes in our head office, but I would go out to our different kind of routes and regions and see what they're doing. I am working from home now. It's been a big adjustment. I was someone with a child that was off school during lockdown, and they're young, they're 14 years old. It was not easy getting them to focus, but now I'm working from home, and now everyone else is so confident using technology. I can have meetings with teams in Scotland, Wales, Liverpool, all in one day, and it makes things so much easier. And I think another thing about young people, you guys are so much more confident with technology than we are. So sitting in front of a camera took me a good 6 months to get used to be honest. But young people are so used to that, and if I ask them, oh, how do you do this, or how can I work this, they're just like that, they know. And that's something that we're trying to, we want that.
And that's it, isn't it? It's looking for that young talent, ingenuity, forward thinking, pioneering. It's to try and bring them on board and add them to the talent that you already have at Network Rail.
That's it. And I think with Network Rail, I have to say it because it's an opportunity to say it. I know a lot of young people think of us for our track-based roles. So obviously we look after the majority of train tracks. We do look after a number of stations as well. But actually there are so many other roles that make the business work. We've got over 4,000 unique job roles at Network Rail. So don't not look at Network Rail if you think, oh, I don't want to be an engineer, or I don't want to work at a station. If you're interested in project management, finance, communications, marketing, HR, business development, I say this and I'm not exaggerating, we literally have something for everyone. I've tried to prove it wrong. I've tried very hard to prove it wrong, and I can't fault it. There is a career for everyone within Network Rail, which I think is just fantastic. And it also means when you come into the business, it doesn't matter where you start, the business is really proactive in supporting you through your career. So you don't have to change employers all the time. We've got people at Network Rail that have been with us for over 20 years, and they've kind of had like 5 different careers in that time, but they've stayed with the same employer, which I think is quite rare.
Yeah, the company that keeps giving.
It is like that. And I think, if you put the work in and you show that you're willing, especially some of our Kickstarters are young people that are in the business at the moment. They're only a couple months in, and we've already got people in the business trying to work out how we can keep them. Can we, obviously with COVID, not many people traveling and using trains, but can we find a way of keeping them on and giving them further opportunities, because they've really amazed us. So it's quite a natural thing, I think, for staff at Network Rail to be able to identify talent and then be able to develop it. So I'm quite proud to say I work for an employer that kind of focuses on that so much, which is great because I work in early careers. So obviously that's what I'd want.
Yeah. And, you're certainly passionate about what you do. I think they say if you find a job that you enjoy doing, you'll never work a day in your life.
And do you know what? It sounds really cheesy, and I didn't believe that. Don't get me wrong, you do have days, you do have very, very long days, but actually you don't mind doing those long days because you know what your end goal is. And if you care and you're passionate, I've been really, really lucky with my whole career, to be honest, to have every job has been something that I've been passionate about. Could just be a passionate person when it comes to work. But I think actually it stems from the fact that I was so lost as a young person when I was a teenager and in my early 20s. I had no support. I had no idea about what careers were out there. I didn't want to go to university. It wasn't for me. And I was kind of written off because I didn't want to go to uni. But every employer I've had, there's been someone in that business that has given me a kind of development point in my career. They've trained me or they've kind of given me information. And I think that's kind of so valuable to me. And that's why I'm passionate about what I do at Network Rail now, because I'm finally in a business where everyone's got the same kind of attitude towards kind of helping young people as I have, but it's that personal experience. For young people out there, not all employers have had the perfect career journey. A lot of us have gone off-road quite a bit, to be honest. So don't all think you have to be a certain type of person or gone along a certain career path. Everyone's welcome.
Yeah, and it's a constant pruning, isn't it? Fine-tuning to get it to exactly where you want it to be.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So in those teenage years, early 20s, how did you find your feet?
Oh, goodness. So I did my A-levels. I did go to university for a short period of time. Between you and me, it was only 3 months. If you ever meet my mum and dad, you tell them it was 6 months. But I ended up getting a job working for a mortgage provider. I didn't even know what a mortgage was. I could tell you what Pythagoras was from school, but nobody had explained what a mortgage was or how it worked. I also wasn't very great at maths either, but I still ended up with a job in finance. So again, there's another urban legend there with careers. But it wasn't it was a job, it wasn't a career, it wasn't something I saw myself doing. I then had my daughter and I got a full-time job working in school reception. And the head's PA turned around to me on my first day and called me into the office, and I thought I was going to get sacked. Don't know what I did. And she just said, Leanean, we think you're going to be bored, so we're going to split the role for you. So you can spend some time in reception, and then we're going to put you into our training school, which is where they kind of build training courses for teachers. And literally that was it. I just got this buzz of helping people to develop in their careers. And then I decided I wanted to work with younger people because I'd been in those shoes of feeling really lost, and it kind of went from there. So I've worked in 4 years in the university, 3 years in a college, and kind of little bits in between. But yeah, that kind of where it stemmed off, that one person that said, Leanean, we see something in you. We think you're going to be bored. Here's an opportunity. And it just flew from there.
Yeah. And it comes across, with your personality, and, you've always been that person who wants to give back, who wants to invest in the next generation because of, what you went through yourself, and wanting to help others as well. And I think that's one of the most noble things anyone can do, is wanting to give and help. So yeah, great for, an honor to have you here.
Oh, thank you.
To do that. Now, in your experience, what would you say has proved to be more important, working hard or working smart?
Oh, I'm always a work smart. I'm always, I think that comes from kind of the management side of things. You can wait. I'm very big on work-life balance. It's really important. I've been that person in their career who's been in the office before 7 and not left until 8:30 at night. But actually, I think sometimes looking at everything you've got to do and looking at how you're doing it, that's what we mean. Just for anyone that is watching, when we say work smart, look at how you're doing it. And can you change that around to kind of benefit you and make sure things are still getting done to the quality that's expected, but within a time frame and with demands on you that is realistic. If you work hard and you overdo it, you're going to burn out. Whereas if you work smart, you're going to be able to keep pushing yourself and keep improving, and you're still providing high quality. So I'm a work smart person, but but I've been burnt by it. That's why I know now. So don't make my mistake. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. They say it's just a small, incremental changes, the small, minute steps that make the difference. By the inch, it's a cinch, is it?
Yeah, that's it. Exactly.
So tell us what a typical day would be like for you.
Okay, so at the moment, like I said, I'm project managing Network Rail's Kickstarter program. So a standard day for me always starts with emails. For anyone that is going into a business role, your day is always going to start with emails, but it's best to get them done first thing. Don't let them pile up. So it could be supporting staff that I get lots of inquiries about work experience. So obviously we haven't been able to do much this year, but lots of staff want to be able to offer it in the next academic year. So lots of emails about how can they support people locally. And then I might have some meetings where I'm talking about how they can kind of create a work experience program. Then I switch over and I look at the kind of placement offers that we've got for Kickstart. So it's basically a job description, but I have to make sure I edit it so young people can understand what the role is. Network rail roles are very complicated. They can come across as very detailed and intimidating, and we don't want young people to be intimidated by roles. So I kind of tweak the wording and stuff like that. Then I sit in meetings and that sounds really boring, but I find them really exciting. So we could be talking about events that are coming up that we're running for young people. We could be talking about, how can we interview young people and make them feel more comfortable. And then I also train staff as well. So I train staff on how to talk to young people. So how to carry out interviews with young people, understanding the barriers that young people might be facing when it comes to employment, and obviously how to keep young people safe when they're working with them. So for me, that the variety in that day, I know it started with emails and ended with delivering training, but that's literally what a day for me can look like. Last week I had a day where I actually got to go and interview young people face to face at a job centre, which was lovely. It's much more fun than working with grown-ups all the time. That's what I say.
And as we open up and, with this July 19th date, it seems that you'll be doing a lot more of that.
Yes, I hope so. And I think a lot more people across the business are going to try to be getting out there. And if we are still quite quiet for the summer term, I think kind of everyone's getting ready to go kind of from September with all of them. We call them early engagement activities. So activities for children and young people. So I think people can't wait to get back out into schools and do career talks or to come in and do STEM-based activities to really get young people thinking about, kind of engineering and technology. We've loved working from home. It's been great. And actually a lot of us will probably stay working from home, but the part where we go out into schools or colleges and work with young people, we are all desperate to get back out and do that. And I think a lot of employers are feeling the same.
Yeah, and as you say, there's a wide range of careers available for young people to look at and consider for working with Network Rail.
Definitely. We've got lots of information on our website. We do run apprenticeship programs, and we've got our graduate programs as well for people that want to go to higher education first. We've got year in industry programs, so for students that take a kind of year to go and be with an employer in between their kind of, it's like a sandwich degree. Obviously there's work experience as well, but just the career wise, it's just, yeah. So if you have someone come into your school and they come and they talk to you, they might be doing a presentation about engineering. Don't think that you can't ask them a question if you're interested in business development or finance or project management. Still ask the question, because they will tell you we have got those careers. Just because the person in front of you is an engineer doesn't mean they can. That's all there is within the business. So don't shy away from asking questions about the type of career you're interested in, because they will be able to kind of signpost you and help you and let you know that we've got those careers within the business. That's what I really want to get across to young people.
Thank you for sharing that. What do you enjoy doing the most? What's the one thing that stands out for you?
I like the creativity side. So anything where I get to have fun. So part of my job, I get to create games and activities. Like, that's brilliant. I get to write stuff for website content and work with our social media execs. So that's great. But I think my real passion is when we do bring young people into the business. I kind of do their welcome meeting, and then I kind of keep in touch with them throughout their placement. And for me, seeing them go from being really shy and quiet and nervous when they're having their induction, to literally taking over meetings and telling me what's going on, and seeing that confidence, for me, I just don't think it gets any better than that. For me personally, that's best part for me.
It's just who you are, isn't it?
I think, I think for me, it's just kind of confirmation that it's working. I think if employers went out there and tried to work with young people and young people weren't engaging, or more importantly, they weren't enjoying it, it would be quite disheartening. So when you see your young people and they're really growing as professionals and they're growing in confidence, you do feel that little bit of kind of mother bear pride. And I think everyone kind of feels it in the business when they've supported somebody. Even, it doesn't have to be a young person, even bringing somebody in who's new to the job and training them up. It's just a great feeling.
Yeah, you're definitely an advocate for young people. We're already coming towards the end of our conversation. What would your final words of encouragement be for our audience?
I think if you are coming out of education and you're thinking about your career, don't worry if you can't think 10 years into the future. I know it's one of those annoying questions that employers ask you, where do you see yourself in 5 years' time, which is really overwhelming for a young person. Take small steps, think about what you enjoy, what you're good at, try and find a career that fits into that and start to, apply that. But just be really honest with your employer. Just say, I just want a chance. I want to develop. I want to work, because that's what they're looking for. Don't put something off because you don't think you've got enough experience, because it's not always experience that people are looking for. In fact, the majority of the time, it's not experience that people are looking for.
Yeah.
Incredible
advice. And, how can people connect with you? How can they connect with Network Rail?
So we've got our website. I'm hoping by the end of this year, we will have a kind of page that's dedicated for children and young people that has all of the information that they need on there. But they want to find out about apprenticeships or graduate opportunities, and that's on the website. And then hopefully from September, we'll be able to have some information about work experience as well. We were advertising our roles on Barclays Life Skills, so it might be worth keeping an eye out on that website. But otherwise, I am on LinkedIn. I can't arrange work experience placements. I do have to kind of put a disclaimer there. Got very large business. I can't plan individual ones, but I am on LinkedIn. But yeah, website or LinkedIn.
Wow, incredible. Leanean, it's been an absolute joy just having you here this afternoon, talking to you. Thank you for sharing your experiences with us. You're certainly someone who stood in the gap to make sure that no young person is left behind, which is what we stand for here as well at the Changing Education Group. And it's great to see someone who's so passionate about helping young people, especially in difficult times as these, and making sure that that the future's still bright for them, that the opportunities are still there, and you've clearly done that. So I just want to say thank you very much indeed for the work that you're doing, and continue to support the young people.
Brilliant. Thank you for having me.
Incredible. So guys, there you have it. Thank you very much for your company this afternoon. Please do make sure you reflect on this video, send in your comments to workexperience@changingeducation.co.uk. For those of you who are on LinkedIn, of course you can also share your reflections there on LinkedIn, and you can tag the Changing Education Group in, and then also don't forget the hashtag Inspire Future Leaders, and I'm sure we'll get that across to Leanean as well. So huge thank you to all of you for taking part in this. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. Click the bell icon so that you're notified whenever I upload a video. And of course, please like this video. So from Leanean and from myself and all the team here at the Changing Education Group, thank you very much. Take care. Bye-bye.